It's not uncommon for those in business aviation to take at least some part of our jobs home with us after leaving the office or hangar. In this excerpt from his interview with Lindsay Dyer on the Business Aviation Collective Podcast, Greystone Advisors principal Jim Lara shares his insights on developing a healthy work-life balance, while still finding new ways to contribute to our industry.
I want to talk about giving back. And this has been kind of something that has been on my mind for a while, about being the mentor or giving back, volunteering and helping out. I know you do a lot of that. You're very active with MBAA and other organizations as well. How important do you think that is for anybody in aviation?
I think it's critical. And I'll give you an analogy,
Okay.
and then I'll get into aviation.
Mm-hmm.
So probably everybody on this call and listening to this podcast, I would say that everybody likes to eat. Would that be a fair?
Yeah, that would be a fair assessment.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, how are you best going to learn how to cook? You learn by working with a chef. And the chef is the one who's going to teach you a lot of skills that you can't learn out of a book.
Right.
You can't learn just by reading a cookbook.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
in aviation, the way that we transfer skills on the flight deck is we have a senior captain working with a less experienced pilot, and we talk about reading the weather. Reading the weather that's out in front of the flight deck, looking at the various cloud forms. Now, where do you suspect we're going to have some turbulence? How does this temperature look as compared to ISA temperatures? How's the performance of the airplane going to be impacted? All that is one-on-one teaching. It's also the same in dispatch.
Yeah.
So how close are we going to cut it? How much leeway do we need to have in the schedule? What's that turn time look like at Teterboro? If we could turn the airplane at 25 minutes at every place else, what do you think we can do in Teterboro? Probably not 25 minutes.
Yeah, probably not. No.
So it's passing that knowledge along to the next generation, but they have got to be receptive. They've got to want to learn.
Yep.
You can't make somebody want it. They've got to want it themselves. And if somebody doesn't want it, don't waste your time. Yeah. Don't waste your time.
Yep. It's true. Boy, I have really just, as I go through my career, I feel almost like the word could be obligation for anybody who's been in this aviation industry for a long time. You're almost obligated to give back. Doesn't mean that you have to do it in a specific way. You could give back in all sorts of different ways, but I really think that's important. And I like to talk about that.
So one of the most important give backs that I've seen, especially in aviation, is here's how I failed.
Okay.
Here's all of my here's a whole series of failures, and here was the root cause behind the failure. Learn from my mistake. Learn from my error, and don't be so vain that you can't talk about how you failed, because everybody fails. Every single person fails, and we're better for learning from the mistake. And so if you can help somebody else learn without having their nose broken, now if you can see my nose has been broken about 19 times, but if you can help them avoid that pain,
right?
That's great.
Yeah, it totally is. Sorry, maybe Brad can take this part off. I had an idea of where I was headed. I was just talking. Oh, I don't. I want to talk about not only giving back. We see once a year, which I would say would be the MBAA S&D conference, at least for our section of the industry. We see people coming in and they're speakers, or even receiving help. Our industry, the S&D group, has like one time a year to go and visit with everybody, and it's like three days, and so much stuff is crammed in at one time. I would like to push back on the fact that it's only once a year. And I say push back because I think that that's not enough for us to do just by going to S&D once a year. And some of us don't get to go every year. So I think it includes going to your regional groups, even though maybe you might think that there are a lot for pilots, but I think the regional groups you have to go to. I think you should listen to like an online podcast. This cannot be something that you do once a year. It has to be year long. So
can I give you a suggestion?
Yeah, definitely.
So use benchmarking.
Yeah.
By benchmarking, what I'm suggesting is that you identify 4 or 5 companies, and you actually go visit them and sit with them and go through all of their processes with them to pick up great ideas. But here's the give back. You've got to be willing to do that with them too.
Yep.
It's got to flow both ways. But benchmarking is incredibly valuable because you're going to be in a real work environment and you're going to see techniques that never get talked about, that you can incorporate into your operation.
I love that.
And that can go on all year long. Maybe you can make a commitment with your leader, with your aviation manager, to do one a quarter, which means that he or she is going to put the money into the kitty for the travel, for you to go do the benchmarking, and for there to be some backup for you when you're out of the office and doing one of these benchmarking trips. So, but then again, somebody would have to find an organization that provides backup schedulers, and I don't know who that would be.
I love that lead in there, Jim. Yes, definitely reach out to LDA. But I think that's a really good example of using your resources. Exactly. LDA is a resource out there to help you with those types of things. There's other companies out there as well. Of course, I think LDA does a pretty good job of it. But yeah, use your resources to grow and be a better leader in your scheduling dispatcher department. And you also talked about work-life balance in general. If you're going to be a good leader, you have to lead, what did you say? You have to maintain a quality of your whole life. Yeah. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that's one of the occupational hazards that I see in scheduling, is that a lot of schedulers, they don't have a life.
Yeah, right.
They are permanently attached to their laptop.
Yep.
They don't go on vacation. They take the laptop to the restaurant at night when they're going with their significant other. I've even seen some schedulers take their laptop to the theater.
Right.
And they may have it closed, but they can feel it buzz. And then when it buzzes, they go out in the lobby. Bad.
Yep.
You've got to have work and aviation, business aviation, private aviation is awful for work-life balance. You know, on the pilot side, we have one of the highest rates of divorce of any work category. It's awful. And
it's too bad.
It's really bad. But on the scheduler side, it's a real hazard. It's a real occupational hazard. And so you really have to focus on generating that work-life balance, which means, again, whoever's doing the budgeting has to budget for temporary help in scheduling and dispatch. So Where else do we see temporary help? Well, how about our contract pilots?
Right. I agree.
Right?
Yep.
How about our contract maintenance folks?
Yep.
Right?
Flight attendants.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that work-life balance is so important. If you really want a career that is rewarding on a long-term basis for you, because you never want to get to the end of the road and ask that fateful question, is that all there is?
Yeah.
It's a very sad question.
It is.
It's a very sad question.
It is.
So that work-life balance is, I hope you can tell I'm passionate about that.
Greystone Advisors offers reality-based, value-packed consulting to help flight departments get to great. Learn more at greystoneadvisors.com and check out episode 39 of the Business Aviation Collective Podcast for the complete discussion. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and other platforms.